I have always been very fascinated with the ways in which people speak and listen to one another in certain languages. Therefore, I have decided to do my final project on the effects of age, demographic variables, and accented speech on the understanding of American English semantics within the United States. Semantics is the branch of linguistics that is centered around logic. More specifically, semantics is the study of deciphering the meaning of words, phrases, and text. Naturally, semantics plays a huge role in the study of languages and how they affect one another. In truth, semantics is the reason why humans can understand one another as well as written information. However, there are many key factors that play a role in the understanding of semantics. Within this presentation, 3 academically reviewed published articles found at the University of Arizona State's online library will be used to demonstrate the effects of age, demographic variables, and accented speech on the understanding of American English. It is my hypothesis that those who are older in age, well-educated, and possess English as their native tongue will have the best chance at fully understanding American English semantics. The article titled Children's Use of Semantic Context in Perception of Foreign Accented Speech, written by Rachel Frusch-Holt and Tessa Bent, evaluates the use of semantic context in perception of foreign accented speech by children. Based on preliminary studies, researchers have discovered that children from preschool to 3rd grade have more difficulty understanding words and sentences when uttered in an unfamiliar dialect or accent than in their home dialect. Children from preschool to 1st grade are less accurate when identifying words that are spoken in an unfamiliar accent or dialect. In addition, children from 5 to 8 years old have more difficulty recognizing sentences when said in an unfamiliar accent or dialect. I will now highlight their experiment. Holt and Bent's study evaluated children's abilities to utilize semantic cues when listening to native and foreign accented speech. In their experiment, 146 children participated, in which 60 sentences were presented to them by 2 male speakers, one who talked in a native American English dialect, where the other spoke English with a strong Mandarin accent. The children were asked to listen to each sentence and then repeat it, guessing at what they heard when needed. The results of this experiment show that there is a significant interaction between age and semantic context, revealing that older boys and girls are able to capitalize on semantic context to a greater extent than younger children are. In fact, in this experiment, the oldest children had the greatest improvements on the final word-to-sentence recognition. Therefore, Holt and Bent's experiment supports the claim that language fluency and accents influence the understanding of semantics more for younger children than older children. The second article, titled The Influences of Semantic Context on the Perception of Spanish Accented American English by Alison Behrman and Alia Kuhn, examines accent change, comprehensibility, and intelligibility of Hispanic Americans while interacting with semantic contexts that vary in difficulty of predictability. These researchers define accentedness as the degree to which a listener can comprehend the pronunciation of utterances by a speaker. Accentedness is influenced by both phonemes and phonetic accuracy. In addition, these researchers define intelligibility as the rate of accuracy in which a listener can comprehend the utterances of a speaker, whereas comprehensibility is the listener's intuition of how easy it is to understand their speaker. I will now highlight their experiment. In Behrman and Kuhn's experiment, 80 college-aged individuals participated, in which they were presented with 16 true-false response statements. The listeners were asked to write down the sentences that they heard as accurately as possible, and then score the accentedness of their speaker, as well as the degree to which they understood each sentence. The results of this experiment demonstrate that there is a strong correlation between accentedness and comprehensibility. More specifically, as the semantic context becomes less predictable within statements, accentedness increases and comprehensibility decreases. Similarly, intelligibility scores worsen as the semantic context becomes less predictable. This study strongly supports that altered predictability of semantic context and the increase of accentedness decreases one's ability to understand the semantics of American English. Lastly, the third and final article, titled Metalinguistics, Stress Accuracy, and Word Reading, Does Dialect Matter? By Linda Jarmovich, Valentina Taran, and Jamie Seek, primarily focuses on the measurement of phonological awareness and accurately producing lexical stress in derived words, decoding, and word identification of non-mainstream and mainstream American English speakers in Tennessee. In Tennessee, at least 3 American English dialects can be found, which include African American English, Southern American English, and mainstream American English. However, African American English has a huge decrease between kindergarten and first grade. In a nutshell, Jarmovich and her colleagues conducted an experiment of 42 third graders that were divided into 2 groups, one that contained those of mainstream American English, while the other of non-mainstream American English speakers. Children were asked if any smaller words were present in either a monomorphic term, such as winter, or a bimorphic word, such as hunter, and if so, they were to identify these smaller words. When the experiment was completed, results revealed that those of mainstream American English performed better on almost all tasks of the study than those of non-mainstream American English, that they had a greater capacity of phonological awareness and lexical stress than those of non-mainstream American English. Therefore, this study supports the fact that mainstream American English speakers have a better understanding of the semantics of American English. In short, these 3 academically reviewed published articles have helped to provide information about how age, demographic variables, and accented speech affect the ways of semantic understanding of American English within the United States. In addition, these 3 articles have helped to support my original hypothesis in which those of an older age, better educated, and who possess English as their native tongue have the best chance at understanding semantics of American English within the United States. These 3 articles have shown that those of mainstream American English have the best chance at understanding semantics, that demographics does indeed affect the way one can understand semantics, and that as you age, you can understand accents and semantics better than when you are younger.